So we'll look at 5 operational principles for living Islam with purpose. The inspiration actually for this presentation originally came from an article by Umar Farooq Abdullah. Dr. Umar Farooq Abdullah is director of the An-Nawawi Institute, a very respected scholar of fiqh. And he wrote this article, Living Islam with Purpose. And so if you can search for the article, it's about 50 pages, but it is worth the read. It's a really loaded article. I have taken the liberty to change some of the words he uses. He uses trusting, reasoning, and respecting dissent. But I think in other places he would put something, he put embracing maxim, he put setting priorities. And so I just reworded, I can't remember the exact wording of the original 5 points he was making, but I reworded them to create the acronym TREES just for the sake of it being more memorable and to make my life easier for me when I wanted to remember the many wonderful points he raised. Unfortunately, I have not been able to put all the points. Some of what he was saying was more relevant to Western or Muslim minority context. It's worth reading. I touch on a number of other topics, and I have changed some of the contents, maybe a significant amount, but I think it is worth, if you want to reread this and get something richer with even more references, I would please request you look for the article, and I'll probably even request somebody look for it and put it as a link in the chat if you don't mind. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is trusting reasoning. This question, asking yourself, does it make good sense when somebody says something about Islam? One of the things that helps us appreciate the importance of reasoning in Islam is the fact that one of the maqasid of Sharia is the protection and the enhancement of the human mind and intellect. It's called Hifdhul Aql. One of the fundamental, they call these the Daruriyat Khamsa, out of the 5 fundamental maxims of Islamic jurisprudence, the protection of the mind and its enhancement through education, its protection through anything that would corrupt it, drugs, alcohol. So we realize that reasoning is very critical. The Quran has so many verses asking people, would you not use your reasoning? In other words, reasoning is a gift that Allah has given us. So we must use this reasoning. If your reasoning is not working, actually in Islam, you're not considered responsible. And that's why there's no sin on the person who is sleeping or insane or the child until they've reached an age where they can reason properly. What is called the taklifiyah, that you have reached a level where you're a mukallif, you are responsible, and this is tied to reasoning and its use. The reasoning is the act of reasoning, and good reasoning, sound reasoning, is one that Islamic jurisprudence and ijtihad or juristic reasoning is really about. That's why there's the whole field of usulul fiqh, which looks at the regulation of reasoning to ensure that there is mutual respect between reason and revelation and vice versa. And this is important actually because the Quran assumes you will use your reasoning in understanding it. So reasoning is a gift for us to use in even understanding revelation, just as revelation is a gift and a tool for reasoning to use and supplement itself with its supplementary knowledge, complementary knowledge. Things that reasoning couldn't give, things that reasoning would continue debating over, revelation comes in to assist. So both reason and revelation are tools to guide us, as we will see with an analogy very soon. Asking questions, trying to understand things more deeply. This is something that even angels ask questions. As holy as angels are, as holy as Mary, the mother of Jesus, was, she asked, how can I have a child when no man has touched me? Ibrahim asked questions, Musa asked questions. So even angels asking God, why would you create a creature like human beings on earth who would shed blood, cause so much corruption, etc.? Questions and satisfying reasoning is not a problem Allah has. So long as you are being sincere, you really want to know, it's useful knowledge you are seeking, please ask your questions. There's nothing irreligious, unholy about asking questions. And the Quran tells us, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask those who know if you don't. So, if it's something sounds irrational, if something sounds outdated, embarrassing, unethical, unjust about Islam, please ask and ask and ask again. And if somebody doesn't give you a good answer, please don't arrive at the conclusion that Islam doesn't have a good answer. Just take it, this gentleman just doesn't have an answer that satisfies me. I may need to learn better and understand what this person is saying better. So maybe it's my reasoning that has not yet caught up, or maybe insufficient knowledge, but please keep asking. I have found that a very useful tool, alhamdulillah. Abu Hamid al-Ghazali actually says reason and revelation are similar to the eyes and light. And I think we used this metaphor earlier on in our first episode on Islam by choice, where he says, to say you are going to use your reasoning without revelation is saying like you're going to use your eyes in the dark. It's like moving with your eyes open in the dark. And to say you're going to use revelation without reasoning is like moving around in broad daylight with your eyes shut. Either way, you will find the furniture with your shin or your heel or your foot. You need both reason and revelation as guidance. These are both gifts from Allah, and Allah asks us to use the two. So it is good for us, and this is the last point I want to make on this issue of trusting reasoning. Trust your good, sincere, honest fitrah, and the Prophet, tells us, استفتح قلبك ولو أفتاك ولو أفتاك المفتون. Consult your conscience, even if people give you fatwa upon fatwa upon fatwa. You're the one who's going to stand before Allah ultimately, and your actions will be judged by your sincere intention. So be sincere, but trust your good, sincere reason and counsel. Seek counsel, seek advice, consult people who know, and at the end of the day, go by what you can stand before Allah with.